costs down. With that, I'm very happy to have my good friend from Rhode Island join us today, Mr. Langevin, and I'd yield to him.
I want to thank the gentleman for yielding and applaud his efforts, along with Mr. Kagan and many of my other colleagues, for their interest, their concern about the health care crisis that is facing America and has been facing this country for decades. I'm proud to join in the effort to speak out in demanding that this Congress finally, once and for all, address the health care crisis in America and establish universal health care. I particularly want to commend President Obama for making this such a strong priority for his young administration. I thank the gentleman for yielding, again, for his efforts in organizing this special order. Mr. Speaker, our country has seen a significant rise in health care costs over the past several years. Again, this is a national crisis and probably one of the most pressing domestic public policy concerns of our time. We have witnessed a growing population with longer lifespans, higher incidence of chronic disease, greater income disparities, and increased levels of uninsurance, all of which put a tremendous strain on our health care system. Each of these elements has conspired to create an untenable situation that is being felt in hospitals and doctors' offices by individuals and families and businesses, and poses a threat to our long-term economic competitiveness and fiscal well-being. According to a recently released report by Families USA, 254,000 individuals in my home state of Rhode Island were uninsured at some point during the last 2 years. While these numbers are unconscionable, I have to say they come as no surprise. I have continuously heard from individuals and families struggling with rising premiums, co-pays, and overwhelmed by medical debt. In fact, as my colleague Mr. Murphy from Connecticut mentioned, the rise in cost of care and unexpected illness is one of the leading causes for personal bankruptcy. Outrageous in a country like America that being sick could put a family into bankruptcy. I think this is unconscionable. Now, I've also heard from Rhode Island businesses that want to provide health coverage for their employees, but simply can't afford the time or, most importantly, the expense of providing that coverage. Workers who, of course, are fortunate enough to have access to health insurance face increasingly daunting costs, while many people are afraid that they'll lose their benefits altogether. Now, this simply cannot continue. The time for comprehensive health care reform has come. This has to be the year that we fix health care in America, that we afford everyone universal health care coverage. I'm pleased that within the last few months, this Congress and President Obama have already taken significant steps to expand health coverage for children, increase funding for community health centers, and invest in innovative technologies that will ensure better treatments and outcomes for our future. It's only with comprehensive health care reform that will achieve substantive change that improves both our nation's health care system and the health of our nation's citizens. Fixing our health care system is also critical to ensuring that the U.S. remains competitive globally in this international market, making sure that our businesses can be competitive in the global economy and will improve our vital long-term economic growth. In the spirit of furthering this important dialogue on health care reform, now I've reintroduced my own universal health care proposal. I'm calling it the American Health Benefits Program Act, which is designed to guarantee every American access to the same health care coverage as members of Congress. I think that this is the right thing to do for the American people. In introducing this legislation, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I wanted to look to a template, something that's already working. And this proposal is modeled after the Federal Employees Health Benefits Program, or FEHBP. It uses basically a health insurance exchange template while leveraging the power of the federal government to negotiate with private insurance carriers so that competition for enrollees is based on quality, efficiency, service, and price. Basically, there is still a role for private health insurers, but it uses the bulk purchasing power of the federal government on behalf of the American people to get the best quality and the best price for health insurance. Now, under this program, no one will be denied coverage or discriminated against based on their health status or pre-existing condition. The goal is to offer portable, continuous coverage that drives investment in disease prevention and long-term preventative care, which decrease the cost of health care over time. But most especially, it ensures that if someone is sick, they can go to a doctor and not worry about whether or not they can pay for it. This proposal represents my own vision for health reform, one that contains costs, improves quality, increases efficiency, promotes wellness, guarantees universal coverage, and encourages the investment in treatments and cures for the 21st century. Each of these principles comprises a key element, an important goal within the national dialogue on health reform. Particularly, it contains the key elements that President Obama has laid out as his requirements for fixing health care in America. It is clear that we are about to set the scene for the next chapter of health care in America, and it is my strong belief that by working together we can create a truly inclusive and sustainable model for health care meets the needs of our children, adults, and seniors regardless of their income level, employment status, age, or disability. We are all stakeholders, Mr. Speaker, in this important debate, and we will all have a role to play in health care reform. I look forward to working with my colleagues to offer fresh solutions and create a new vision for health care in America. The time has come. This is the year. We're going to get it done. I want to thank my colleague, Mr. Murphy, and all of my colleagues who have joined in this special order tonight and this effort to fix health care in America. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Langevin. You've been such a leader in this Congress for years on the issue of health care reform, especially as the world knows on the issue of stem cell investment. We know that one of the ways that we're going to get savings ultimately is by stimulating the next round of breakthrough treatments and cures that are going to save lives but also save money. So thank you very much for that.